Yeah, we are watching this now. Interview with Embark CEO on how Arc Raiders is defying the industry odds. I think this is going to be great.
But someone needs to dare to say what I think is uncomfortable.
Oh, what I wanted to say is I really love Arc Raiders. It's the I said it yesterday when I did the late Arc Raiders stream. I really love this game. I didn't have this much. I didn't had this much fun in a multiplayer game. I don't know, in 5 years, maybe 10. It's amazing. It's so good. It's so much fun.
That's my job. That's how I look at myself. I'm the guy that needs to point out the things that are uncomfortable. I can maybe guide people towards a direction, but ultimately they're the ones that are going to have to figure it out, right? If you look at the total amount of time or even money that has been spent on Arc Raiders, a game that would have been in development at a larger scale publisher for that amount of time would have cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, wow. Okay. For how long did they develop it? And how much did it cost? I hope he answers those questions.
You know, we're not even near that.
Good for them.
Hello and welcome to the Game Business Show with me, Christopher Drink. Back in 2018, a handful of creators and leaders from Electronic Arts, many of whom have worked on the Battlefield franchise, left to form a new studio called Embark, which is now owned by Nexon. This new team would go on to release online free-to-play shooter The Finals in 2023, which saw 20 million players in its first month. That game has had its ups and downs and ups again, but now...
Yeah, I really didn't like The Finals. I hated the character designs because I just hated them. They were so unappealing. Now the character design in Arc Raiders is better, but not by a lot. Thankfully there are no fat people. At least that. But for example, you can't make a busty chick or a super buff dude, which I think is sad. But hey, you know, it is what it is. A couple of days ago, I found out that the women in the game actually have an ass, which I like. That made it into my end of season review video, which might be why it's not doing so well.
Embark is about to release its second game, the extraction shooter Arc Raiders, which is generating a lot of pre-release hype. It's very high on the Steam wishlist count. It's got hundreds of thousands of players in their technical tests. Now, Arc Raiders actually started development before the finals, and it's had a long journey to release. It was very much a cooperative game to begin with, and now it's a sort of player versus player extraction shooter. Now, to talk about the new game, launching in the current market, the fate of the industry, the finals.
When did this come out? 1 month ago. So even before the game came out, I would guess.
Making video games in a new way. I am joined by the founder and CEO of Embark, Patrick Soderlund. Hello, Patrick. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
The last time I spoke to you, and it would have been a long time ago now, you were still running studios at Electronic Arts. Mm-hmm. And so it feels strange to me to be speaking to you straight after a Battlefield launch, and we're not here to talk about Battlefield.
We can. Played a lot of it, so.
I played a lot of Battlefield 6. I haven't played it yet. I mean, I played a little bit of the test in the summer.
I played, I don't know, probably 30, 40 hours of it.
Oh, really? Wow. You don't have that Stockholm syndrome for the...
Well, yeah, no, I don't either. But no, I just thought it looked good, and I wanted to try it and play it and see. You know, my skills may not be what they once were, but I'm okay.
Yeah. Same. My gamer skills have gone down dramatically because I'm just getting old. I'm just getting old. That's also why I don't enjoy PvP anymore, unless I can prepare for the fight and stuff like that. I'm more an ambush fighter than being able to fight ambushes. If you get what I mean, being ambushed.
Does it feel funny not to someone else to take over and take away your baby, basically?
Well, yeah, that was a decision that I made myself. So from that perspective, it's fine. I'm happy for the fact that the game is good. I mean, it is a good game without a doubt. I think that it's a very complete package that they've made. I know a lot of people have worked very hard to kind of resurrect and make this comeback for the brand. So for me, it's, of course, I'm happy. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for the fact that something that was one of the key reasons why I started in this industry a very long time ago gets to survive and gets to thrive. There's nothing wrong with that.
No. Well, we obviously talk about your game, but actually, before we get to Arc Raiders, your actual first game was the finals, which is an interesting story because you had this.
You only have little moments of skills, not at all consistent anymore. Yeah, same. Little bursts of fast reactions. Yeah. When before it was all the time. Yeah, same. I remember when I was actually kind of skillful in Blacklight Retribution. I was one of the guys, if you put me in the lobby with new players, I would destroy them. Bad players, new players, I would destroy them. But the moment I actually face good players, I'm getting destroyed. I was literally in the middle. I might get some, kills on good players, but that would be rare. Actually, good players, I had no chance, basically. But that was fine. I knew my plays. I knew that I was good enough to, get 30 plus, 20 plus, 30 plus kills in one match. When, I am the best in the match. Duh. But I also knew that, when one of the guys that comes in that is actually really good at the game, from a mechanical standpoint and stuff like that. I'm just not making it. No, I can be high in the rankings, but I will not top.
I remember it. You had this huge big reveal and launch sort of at the back end of 2023.
Yeah.
Then things fell away quite fast, but you persisted with it. What was the? Did you always believe in it? Was there ever any doubt?
The finals was a game that I didn't think that we would ever build, to be honest.
Oh.
When I and the other founders left EA, and what we previously spoke about, the Battlefield brand and other brands as well, I think we kind of had a hunger to create something different, something that wasn't an FPS or a game where you shoot other people necessarily in the same way. And we decided that, that's when we started building on Arc Raiders and what was then Arc Raiders. But then obviously, there's a reason
Makes
why
sense.
we built these types of games for so many years, many of us. And I think we kind of got an itch to go and, explore that segment again. And I remember telling some of the individuals who were working on it that, listen, we won't go into this space unless we can come with something that can serve up and have a meaningful innovation, and that brings something new and fresh to the market.
Oh, thank God. That was the right decision. Because if you just build something and it's just whatever, the players know. That's why Path of Exile 1 and 2 are so good. Even if to be fair, this season of Path of Exile 2, I played one day so far because the areas are just too big. I played the game for 10 hours on stream, and I didn't even made it through the second act. I'm just too slow for that game, or the game is just too big. And with the game, I mean the areas, the maps, which is really not good.
Otherwise, why bother? We're not going to go and try and build, a game that's already out there and try and do it better or our version of it. That makes no sense. We wanted to build something that brought something new. So that's, and then we had a long, multiple conversations around what could that be, how would it be executed, everything, and that eventually led to the finals.
Mhm.
We also
Nice.
knew that we wanted to try and maximize the amount of players playing the game, and being a relatively small studio, we felt like free to play is a business model that could make sense as long as we
Yeah.
try and implement a version of free to play that's fair, that is just towards the players, and that we don't take every angle to monetize them, but it's built on kind of a fair, trusting relationship towards our paying and playing customers. Whether you pay or play or just play, it doesn't really matter.
To me, this seems like kind of the opposite approach of War Thunder. As someone that has about 1,300 hours in War Thunder, yeah, this is the opposite approach of War Thunder. Thank you. Very much. Thank you very much. War Thunder hates its player base. It feels like it, yes. It feels like it. When I see how long I take to get anything done there, yeah. Yeah, it feels like it. Pay to suffer, yeah. Yeah. That's how it feels. That's why I play War Thunder basically only on Fridays when I play with you guys. That's when I play War Thunder. Aside of that, maybe I play a little bit when I have a 200% research bonus and it's running out before Friday. Yeah. It's like the dominant old female in a relationship. Oh yeah. You never want that. I know what I'm talking about. That was my mother. I have seen how she treated my basically stepfather, so yeah. Predator Thunder. Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we launched the game. We were surprised at how many people played it, to be honest. We had over 20 million downloads very quickly, and people
Wow.
came to play the game. So I think that we had obviously created something
That's a
that people
lot.
had an interest in playing. That was obvious. We mission complete on that aspect. But then I remember it so well. We were all away during Christmas. I remember I was on a trip somewhere and very addicted to my phone and reading all the data that was basically hourly. We saw revenue numbers, player numbers. We saw everything coming in, on it. So I was watching my phone constantly during the break, and then January 7th, I remember, was the day when kind of everything started declining and declining rapidly to a large extent. We were completely fine then, and we were.
I think when I followed the conversation correctly, I've already. Yes, almost 7 minutes in, and I've took so many breaks. I think we are still at the finals. And yes, that game kind of died very quickly. War Thunder seems to do everything to make you feel like you need to pay to get anywhere. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. I agree totally with you, Matty. 100%.
We thought that we were, this is, that we've created a monster. And then it took about a month, and then people started doing something else. They stopped playing the game to a large extent, and we lost massive players. The player numbers went down very quickly, and we came back and started thinking, what's happened? Has something else launched? And it took us a while to fully understand why that was. I think we got to a place where it was evident that there wasn't enough content in the game. We didn't do a good job enough onboarding players. We didn't do a good enough job explaining the game modes. We didn't. I mean, there were, we had a problem with our menu and UI HUD, everything. And then I think what was evident also for us was there's no quick fix. There's nothing that we can do. There's not one thing that is wrong that will make this fix. That fix.
I started playing the game. I think I played it 2024. I think I don't even remember when. I played it for. I overall maybe played 6 hours of the finals, combined over all my sessions. And I just stopped because it's not fun. To me, the game is just not fun. Which has a lot of reasons. One was that I didn't like the universe, the aesthetics, especially this character's aesthetics. And it absolutely makes no sense that you can be a fat dude and be athletic like a gymnast. Makes no sense to me.
That creates a solution that then all the players are back. That wasn't the case. We quickly realized that wasn't the case. So we had to be very methodical about it. We had to go back and talk to the players as best we could, mine all the data, and then data is great, and it can be your best friend, but it can also be your worst enemy, because it's what you do with the data that dictates the outcome. And
100%.
Everyone talks about data, but what people should be talking about is actually what to do with data, and how to analyze data, and what decisions you make on something that is inherently creative and a piece of entertainment, right? So we had to learn how to do that our way, and it took time, but and we tried many things. We thought that we were lacking a game mode, and we had to fix that. So then we added something that we thought was awesome, the terminal attack game mode. We loved it, and I was thinking, this is it. Now everyone's going to come back, and everyone, most people didn't like it.
Oh, no.
So okay, now what? What do we do now? So that was kind of the constant loop that we had to go through in order to understand, to get to a place where we felt like we made progress. And then we did make progress. I think we were, by the people that stuck to us and still played, which there were still a lot of them. They could see what we were trying to accomplish. I think they applauded the effort, and then we slowly started seeing more and more players.
Yeah, but a tiny core of audience that sees your effort doesn't keep your company running. That's a problem.
Kind of either come back or come in and try the game, and then our retention mechanics were better, and got better over time. And now, for the last, I would say, 6 months, we've been on a steady growth trajectory again, and we're growing the franchise. We're
Oh, nice.
we're seeing, and the game is profitable, which is a good thing, and we feel good about it. So we're sitting here planning, not months ahead, but years ahead of what this game can become and what to do with it. So I know that's probably a relatively unusual story. A lot of games we've seen come out and then go through the same thing, and unfortunately, this needs to exist, especially in the free-to-play market. So I'm a little bit surprised that we managed to make the changes that we did, and that we got to a place that's not now much better. Doesn't mean that it will last forever, but it means that we've done something right.
Well, is there anything from that you're able to take?
By the way, Marvel. Let's look at Marvel Rivals. I want to show you something. SteamDB. It's not even in here. Marvel Rivals. Where's the player count? Where's the player count? Shots. They're around 1/6 of the maximum player numbers. They have fallen off drastically. It came out, everyone was hyped because the game was good, and the characters look good, especially the woman. And now no one cares anymore. Fundamentally, no one cares. I mean, sure, 130,000 people in the last 24 hours, that's good. Right now, 64,000, no, 46,000. Sorry, I said that in the German way. That's still good, but, 644,000 and 130,000, they are very different numbers. Marble Riftbore, I have no idea what you mean by that. I just wanted to show that even Marvel Rivals has lost massive players. Massive. Doesn't mean it's a bad game. Doesn't mean it's not successful. It's boring. You can argue that, yes. To you, that's 100% you thing, yes. It's just Overwatch, but Marvel, right? So yeah, whatever. I only played it for the hot chicks, literally, and that's why I stopped playing it.
Into Arc Raiders that you learn?
No, of course, a ton. Just launching with.
You feel like Battlefield 6 fell back a bit too? Of course it did. People bought it, played it, and a lot of them already got bored because it's just Battlefield. And yes, I just said just Battlefield because that's what it is. There's a reason for that.
With more content, more depth. It's not necessarily about having more than 3, 4, 5, or 7. I mean, it's not the amount of maps necessarily. It's how you utilize the content. It's the depth.
Yeah.
What do people do? The first thing you have to understand is when you play the game, the second to second, if you don't nail that, there's no game. So then you talk about, traditionally talk about what happens every minute in the game. You need to nail that too. Those things you can't negotiate unless you have those figured out. No one is going to want to play the game. I think that for both Arc Raiders and for the finals, those two, to a large extent, we figured out.
Good.
Then you go into hour by hour, and then day by day, and then maybe week by week, month by month. That's where the problem starts, and you need to really make sure that you have things for players to do, things for players to accomplish, things for that you have an ever-evolving game that feels like you want to come back to.
They have that in Arc Raiders with the cred. You can farm cred and unlock stuff with it, a battle pass thingy. Then they have events. Like at the moment we have the Christmas event going with Cold Snap that gives a new weather condition to maps. Yeah, it's getting cold and you can literally freeze to death. But on those Cold Snap maps you can harvest. You not only get better loot, you can harvest a plant which you can use. You can sell it, of course, or you use it for the unlock thingy, where you can get rewards like blueprints. I don't know what's at the very end of it, which will be, by the way, after the project Karen went out and people have reset their accounts, which I also do, just for doing it at least once, because I want to see how it is, And thankfully they have increased the drop rate of blueprints massively. Yesterday I played for maybe 2 hours and I found I think 4 or 5 blueprints, of which I think I only had 1. You look like Lego piece 28125. Thank you. So they have that in Arc Raiders, and it's working out, I think, okay. At least okay. You have things you can unlock, things you can progress. And that's even completely random. You don't even have to focus on it, which is nice. And then you have the game loop that for me is so good. I love to loot. I love the looting more than anything else. Looting. That was also the number one thing that I liked in Escape from Tarkov, the looting. Anything else was just like, yeah, whatever. Give me, let me loot. That's the most fun thing for me.
That punishes you enough, but not too much, right? That is rewarding yet not too rewarding, and that feels fair yet sometimes unfair. And that's the balance you have to thread, right? And as a developer, it's I'm not saying that we're going to get it right 100% for our creators, but I think that the learnings that we've had has taught us a lot. And I also know that in the events or cases where we don't get it right, I think that we're going to be much quicker to jump on those problems and cure them. Or try to cure them.
Well, I was going to ask this later, but that's actually the biggest thing of a live service online game is that you can do the big numbers at the start. We've seen that happen many times over the last year. I mean, you've also seen games like Concord and other things fall over, but we've seen lots of games start very strongly. But the hard bit is keeping them, particularly when you're in a massive...
You will never keep all. Never. That's impossible. People jump into a new thing and then they just get bored after a couple of weeks because they now have seen it all and then they want to go and do something else. And then you have people that stay longer, which will never be as many people as you have at your maximum. Where all the people came in for, it's something new. That's just normal. That's also why I can't understand that people are crying that Arc Raiders is dying. It's not. It's adjusting. Of course there are now less people playing on a daily basis because they have basically seen everything that's there so far. And now they are settled in. So they don't play as much. But that doesn't even mean that the players are all gone. I can guarantee you a lot of players are gone because they played the game. They are like, okay, it's not for me. Or I don't want to play it until, a certain thing happened. A thing gets implemented. For example, people that only want PvP. Or people that only want PvE. If you stop playing the game because, it doesn't have a PvE mode. Yeah, sure, stop playing, yeah. The game is not for you, literally. They said that they had the game was only PvE and it was boring. And I can completely see it because even I get sometimes bored because I don't participate in PvP unless I get attacked. And even when I get attacked, a lot of times I just die because I get ambushed. And how do you defend an ambush if it's an ambush. It's meant to kill you, basically instantly. So there is so much fighting. It's very simple. Now, do I hate the PvP in the game that I can get involved to? No. I think that's one reason why it's so interesting to play. And I'm not a PvP player at all. At all. I'm there for the looting, the PvE, and meeting people, having fun with them. The PvP is completely not on my list for this game. It's something that I want. But it's something that I would miss if it wouldn't be in the game at all. Because the game would go boring immediately. And this at this moment, whenever I meet a person in game, there's a 50-50 chance that they will just shoot me. And I like that that is there, because it keeps the game exciting. It keeps it exciting meeting other people in the game, because you never know. If it would be PvE only, there's no PvE, there is no excitement of running into people. It's just, yeah, whatever, yeah. You run that way, he runs this way, yeah, no one cares. But now, there's a possibility that he might be aggressive. And you have to figure that out very fast. I ran into people on accident, and we went just, whoa, friendly. And yeah, that's it. We just go our way. Or you just get ambushed. It can all happen. Can all happen. And that's why it's so exciting.
The saturated
Yeah.
online space where people have come from somewhere. They've come from, I don't know, Helldivers or Call of Duty, whatever the game is. They've come to you from somewhere else, and now you're going to have to. They're going to go back at some point, and that's the, or potentially go back at some point, which I guess is the really difficult thing about this space that you're in.
Yeah, we actually, it's funny that, man, we talk about that. We talked about respecting players' time and the fact that they've chosen to come to our game to try it, and our job is to make sure that they feel like that was worth the time, and if they do, they may stick around. but we talk about respecting players' time a lot in the studio, and understanding that there are so many other things out there that are great that they can choose to play instead of what we have, unless we do a good enough job.
You've gone with the premium model with Arcade.
The thing is, I would say so far, whenever I played Arc Raiders, I never felt like my time was wasted. I would say. Now, yeah, I would say my time never was wasted. It was either, I got stuff done, either actively or passively, or I had a memorable experience, even if I got ambushed and killed. I remember some of the times I got killed and I got completely triggered and stuff like that. Yeah, it just happens. But that's also exciting to me. That's why I like the game so much.
I don't know. I think you're planning to do free to play to begin with. What was the thinking behind the shift in business model from the finals to Arc Raiders?
There were many aspects of that. I think other games coming to market with success, Helldivers was one of them. We looked at that. We looked at the construct of Arc Raiders, and at the same time, we were faced with a declining business on the finals. So many things, I think, led to that decision. But the front and center was the type of game that we were trying to build, and we felt like if you build a free-to-play game, you have to have an economically viable way to make that game stay alive. As a developer, that is what it is. We can't just make free games that are 100% free, because people there need to, get paid and they have families and homes and things so we can't.
Exactly, and that's a thing a lot of players miss out. Well, a lot of players. A lot of stupid people forget that people have to pay their fucking bills. They forget that. And by the way, they already have lowered the prices for their cosmetics once. I don't remember on how much. And they also refunded people that already bought cosmetics for the, for the part they would have saved. They refunded them, which I think is great. It's really good for customers.
So for us, we felt like but it's also a game thing. It puts pressure on the game to the finals. Is pretty simple. It was, we just, you can choose to pay if you want to, and all you pay for are cosmetics and battle passes. Basically, there's no way for you to get better, paying anything to get better. Our job is to make sure that we have a lot of things in there that people feel like they want to spend $1 on or $5 on or $10 on, and if they do, good for us. If they don't, they can still play the game and have a good time. Our creators, we felt, had a deeper construct than that, and the kind of cosmetics, a business model based purely on cosmetics and battle pass, we didn't feel suited that game at that point in time. So it was a creative decision that then also was formed, informed by market conditions and what we were trying to, and then obviously our own results with the finals. So
Yeah.
it was multiple things that led to that.
We've talked about this before, Art Ray.
Interesting. They did market research and went, yeah, we should ask for money. Interesting.
Raiders was revealed, was it in 2021? It was the game that was supposed to be before the finals, but you decided it wasn't right. I think you said it wasn't fun. I mean, how did you come to that that kind of brutal realization, I guess it must have been?
Unfortunately, we we should have come to that conclusion sooner or earlier. I think I was the one that just said, listen, guys, it's not working. It's not fun enough. We relied on a game where the kind of loop, the compulsion loop of the game was so dependent on deep innovations within artificial intelligence, both in reinforcement learning, machine learning, and other aspects. And we thought that we could build a whole game around that experience. You would go in and you would have amazing moments, and you would be like, yep, we nailed it, high five. And then you played 4 hours straight that were, just not fun. And some of them were even painfully bad because the encounters weren't good enough. You had a problem getting players to collaborate properly, etc. And you'll hear this from some of the key individuals here in the studio, but I personally was after this PvP idea a couple of months into the development. I just said, I believe this game, there's a game here that could be more fun if it was a PvE game. I didn't talk about the extraction elements of our creators that came later. But we wanted to let the team run.
So it wasn't an extraction shooter from the beginning, which is interesting. Very interesting that they put that in at an basically afterthought. Good decision though, because the extraction thing is amazingly good. It adds another layer of but actually skill, because you have to know when to extract, where to extract, how to extract, and to do it safely without dying. That's basically 4 skills that you have. Yeah, I like it.
With this idea because there was so much innovation in it, and that we believe that we could figure it out. But at some point you have to make a decision, and it's one thing to try a week, a month, even a year you can try, and it wasn't a lack of trying. The dev team really tried, and we wanted to make this work, but we just, it wasn't there, and then we had the discussion. Now what are we going to do? I think there was multiple people. I think the majority of the leadership team came to the same conclusion that, guys, sorry, it's not working. It's not fun.
Yeah.
And then what do? Then you have to make a very difficult decision of, if we continue with this, in what shape or form should we continue? And so we sat down and we had a bunch of conversation, and I think we all loved the universe that we've created. We felt very
Even I like it. Now, I don't like all the parts of it because they don't make logical sense to me. Like, why is Speranza so diverse? Let's say it that way. Why? And also, where is it? I think it would be in the south of America. And I mean, the USA. The US of A. But that can explain it, yeah?
good about having created this kind of retro sci-fi kind of world that has always felt right to us. I know that it's maybe not for everyone, but we love it. We love the idea of something that feels retro yet, sci-fi.
I like it too. I mean, there is also a reason why I like old sci-fi movies better than modern sci-fi movies. Modern sci-fi movies are so clean. They're so clean, so and also uninspired. I think most modern sci-fi movies are uninspired. They all look the same. Have you? Am I the only one that's seeing that modern sci-fi movies all look the same? It's boring.
Feels, and obviously with it just feels right to us, right? It's that simple.
Yeah.
And then we just said, okay, this world and IP deserves a better game than what we're currently building. What does that look like? And at the same time, I remember Alex Grandal, who came into the project, who was the executive producer that I worked with. He was on Battlefield before. I worked with him many years. We managed to hire him in, and I remember one of the first days I spoke to him and said, listen, we have a lot of work to do and there's changes that needs to happen. And I can share with you what I think, but I'll put that aside and I'll let you try and figure this out yourself. And he and I think the team ran with that and came back with a game design that was more in line with what players are playing now. Mm-hmm. Obviously not as detailed as we ended up being at the end, but I think that was for me it's you have to make a decision on what to do with something like this. You can put all the data up in the world and you can compare to other games, but at the end of the day, it's a decision that comes from your gut.
Yeah.
Does it feel right? Does this feel like a game that we can build and pull it off so that we actually cure the problem?
Only because the numbers say people should like it doesn't mean people will like it. It has to feel good. Very important.
Problems that we believe the previous version of the game had, and do we believe that there's a big enough market out there for players, to like this? So I remember we played a ton of extraction games, and everything from Tarkov to The Hunt. I mean, I played so much of those games, and we thought that, okay, this is fun. There's something here. I know it's not for everyone, but we believe that maybe if we make something that's a little bit more accessible than what's out there, and something that's a little bit lighter in how it feels, maybe that could be a way to attract players into something like this. And that's kind of how we started.
It's interesting because I know that I read a comment from you because I know you sort of experimenting with AI tech, you mentioned it there. But that feeling of your gut of knowing this isn't right, that's not something you can, that requires a human, it requires experience, I guess, and just,
sure,
it's not something you can train.
Yeah, thank God that we can't replace ourselves with AI just yet. That's good. And again, it's not about me, to be honest. It's obviously a conscious team effort and team decision, but someone needs to dare to say, what I think is uncomfortable, and that's my job. That's how I look at my.
And that's why Concord failed. They weren't allowed to say that it's not good, and that's why it failed. And that's why our creators succeeded. because they were allowed to say, yeah, this doesn't feel good. It's that simple. It's literally that simple.
I'm the guy that needs to point out the things that are uncomfortable, and then I can maybe guide people towards a direction, but ultimately they're the ones that are going to have to figure it out, right?
Yeah. I suspect a lot of my audience might want to know this question, answer to this question, because the numbers on Arc Raiders, I mean, your latest playtest is really strong. Your technical test was really strong. The buzz around it is very impressive. You seem to get people angry with you for not letting them play more, which is a very, very good problem to have. But it's so competitive, you know, not just in the extraction shooter space where there's things like Marathon coming up and stuff, but you're coming out between Call of Duty, Battlefield and Call of Duty. But you're getting real cut through. You're getting real attention. What's the secret?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I had this conversation with another friend in the industry the other day who told me that, listen, I'm surprised that you guys have been able to come from, you know, start a new studio and then make first the finals, which is a new IP that I think, at least from our perspective, is deemed successful. And then you build Arc Raiders, which, knock on wood, looks like we're going to do at least okay with. And then he asked the questions, how come? What are you guys doing? And it's difficult, right? And I thought about it, and I couldn't give him a good answer. I just said, but I think it comes down to just not being complacent enough to try and believe that we can build something without making a meaningful impact or innovation. We have to bring something to the
Concord. Again, Concord. They didn't do any of this. I think Concord is a perfect example where the developers don't care about the players. Or having anything meaningful in it. Or thinking they have something meaningful, but it's not.
market so that people pay attention. We just can't fall under the notion that building more of what's already out there is the right formula. For us, if we build a game...
Earlier, we have seen the trailer for, how is it called? When something with God, the new game from the makers of Apex Legends and Titanfall. And that's just another hero shooter. No one cares about it. Everyone calls it the Concord 2 for a good reason. That thing will fail hard. So hard. Now I will play it because it's free to play. I will play it for one stream and then never touch it again.
We want to try and bring meaningful change to that market and to try and give people, again, we spoke about it before, a reason to come and try our game. And if we've done a good enough job, maybe they'll stick around. But in order for them to break away from what they're already playing, there needs to be a factor of attraction there for players to come and say, listen, I may go over there. And I think we managed to get to that with the finals for sure. If you would have asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said, listen, finals is a slam dunk. I mean, love that game. Again, I've played a lot of it and I still play it. But I was more concerned about Arc Raiders and whether that would find its market. So when we launched the technical test,
I can understand
TT2, we call it, which was in earlier in the spring, we were just blown away by how many people just came and played it, and it became.
When that came out, I just heard a new extraction shooter, and I was basically immediately like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care, and I don't like extraction shooters. I played Escape from Tarkov, and I was like, yeah, I don't care. And I've seen it, and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I can try it out when I get a free weekend or something like that. And then the server slam happened, and I immediately fell in love with the game. It wasn't even a question. I played one round and I was like, this is good. This is good. Of course, also because everyone was friendly. But I was immediately, yeah, this is good. This is good. And then I played for the entire weekend and I was like, this is good. This is good. And then, game came out and the rest is history. I love that game. And I haven't said that about a new game I played in ages, but I love this game. It's, even with all the criticism even I have, I still love the game. It's great.
We obviously tried our best to market it, but it became one of these things that just spread virally. It's like, someone talks to someone and then you have to go try this.
Yep.
And so we were humbled by that and felt like, wow, this is a surprise. But I think it's testament to the work that the team has done with the IP, the work that the team has done with building something that is complicated yet accessible, something that is easy to play yet has a lot of gameplay depth. I think I still get terrified by the arc, enemies we played yesterday, and we were screaming, Alex and I, in the room as we were being chased by one of the robots, a leaper that we deliberately engaged with and later suffered for it.
Regretted it.
But so I think I think that's where it is.
How do you approach? I'm interested. Have you sort of approached development any differently to how you did when you were at EA?
Yeah,
I bet they did 100%. We all know EA.
I mean, for sure. I mean, that's, I think, the foundation of Embark was, if we're going to try and build a studio, we have to, we can't compete with the likes of EA and Activision and other large companies because we don't have the same financial means to do that. We then realized that we had to get to a place where, we spoke about it. Basically, we have to go back and take a look at how you develop a video game. Where do you start? How do you, what aspects of development are there? Whether that's content creation, coding, audio, and we kind of try to be dumb enough to challenge ourselves, not only to make things faster, but to completely change the methodology of what it means to be a game developer for us.
Did you hear that? The most important thing here to take away for me is they wanted to challenge themselves. When was the last time you heard a game developer saying something like that? I think if you take anything away from this interview, then that they wanted to challenge themselves to create something. And they did. It was a challenge for them, a massive challenge. And they succeeded, mostly. I wouldn't say completely, but mostly. They succeeded, yes. I completely agree here, yeah. With me. I completely agree with myself. They challenged themselves, they went through it, and they mostly succeeded. This is great.
And
the same, that basically the same what the studio behind Expedition 33 did. They went out and challenged themselves to make a great game. And they did.
And that was the start of Embark. We spent most of our time in the beginning building tools and pipelines and workflows to be able to, I remember Rob, who runs our development or content creation here department. Him and I had a conversation, and I remember feeling a little bit dumb because I said to him, "Listen, I want us to be 10 times faster in content creation so that we can keep up with these Asian live game developers who churn out content. We have to be competitive." And he said, "Okay, I hear you," and we went away, and then we spoke a couple of days later, and I said, "Listen, sorry for telling you, for talking. I know that I was probably a little bit offensive. I'm not suggesting that you're inefficient, but I said, unfortunately, I think what I told you is incorrect. I think that we need to aim for 100 times faster, not 10 times faster."
Wow.
And I said
That's a lot.
Bear with me. I'll try and explain why. And I felt like if our goal is to do it 10 times faster, we're going to go into trying to fix conventional development methods, and that may lead to us being twice as fast if we do a good enough job. If you ask for 100 times faster,
when you ask for 100 times faster, you have to change the way you do develop a game. Not adjust, change.
You have to take what you know and basically throw that away, and then start really thinking about what type of modifications and transformation do we need to go through in order to completely change the way that we approach this. So that's when we came into procedurally generated content, to using AI and machine learning to some extent in even the content creation pipelines, to what types of tools we build, to
by the way, the AI and machine learning for the behavior of the arc is awesome. It's perfect. I have seen videos of arcs behaving differently already. So they might have cranked up the arcs because they have lowered the behavior of the arcs for the release to make them easier. And we might have already seen unleashing of the arcs actual potential, which is awesome. I look forward to this.
And realizing that a lot of these tools that we've been working with for so long they stem from software that's 25 to 30 years old.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We have to build some of these things that are some of the programs that we're using today. We may have to write our own in order to get to where we want to.
Wow.
And today, I wouldn't say that we're 100 times faster than any other studio. That would be arrogant, of course. But I do believe that what we have done has created a way to build products and games and update them that I don't think many others can compete with. And
that's great.
It's because we took that approach. So if you come
Awesome.
here, you'll have to learn a bunch of tools that only exist here. You have to go at things in a way that I think we're the only ones doing. And
imagine Embark becoming the new Blizzard, like the original Blizzard, where everyone wants to go to because they are so awesome at what they are doing. At this point, I would be surprised.
And this studio is roughly 300 people, and we have 2 relatively large games in development. One is in a live environment. And by the way, we've updated the finals every single week since the time we launched it, and we will continue to update it every single week. Sometimes we have smaller updates, sometimes we're bigger, but the game updates every week. The players know it. Every Wednesday or Thursday, the game will have an update. We will use a similar approach to our creators. We will continuously update the game and make sure that people get a new experience and better experience on an ongoing basis. We also have other games here that we are developing that are other new IPs that we haven't shown yet. And
cool.
and I think to do that with with a medium-sized studio, I would say. We're not a small studio by any means.
No.
I think is due to the fact that we've made these investments early on.
I've got so many things to follow up there. One of
so
them is
cool.
Arc Raiders, though. You talk about going faster, but you've given that game time. You haven't rushed that game out, have you? I mean, I guess those two things aren't necessarily contradicting each other, but it seems to be that you want to go faster, but you're not willing to just rush.
No, but to us, it's not.
But being faster and doing something doesn't mean you have to rush the entire project. If it's faster to do, but the behavior of an enemy, the AI that it uses to move around, attack, whatever it does in the game, that doesn't mean the entire game gets finished faster. It's just that one thing is done faster. You can just, improve more, which is, I think, even more important.
About rushing things or about time. It's about doing the right thing at the right time. If you look at the total amount of time or even money that has been spent on Arc Raiders, it's not a game that would have been in development at a larger scale publisher for that amount of time would have cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. We're not even near that. We haven't spent even close to that on Arc Raiders. Have we spent more than we wanted to? Probably. That's always the case. But I don't think people should confuse what we're trying to accomplish for rushing things or doing them quickly necessarily. It's more about efficiency. And also, to some extent, we have had this conversation internally. It's also about building games is an inherently creative work. It's like writing a song or painting a picture. It's creating a movie. And what we also spoke earlier about is to try and remove things that are boring and tedious, and things that so people can spend more time creating the stuff that's fun and the things that have that are player facing, really player facing, instead of and to automate a lot of tedious, boring work means that you can spend time on the creative side of building games instead. I think that's, to me and to us, more what it's about than a game needs to launch at a certain point in time.
Yeah. Well, I know some of those big studios, including the ones that the one you worked at. I guess if your game needed to come out faster, you would just put more people on it, right? Whereas I guess you don't have that capability really, but also maybe that's not the best way of doing it.
No, we can't. But again, that's sometimes that can help, and that can have a major impact on your velocity, and that could really pay off. But it is a formula that long term will go against putting quality games in the market. That's just how it works. I mean, sometimes you need to do it, and then you do it. But it's long term. It's not a sustainable formula if you want to build high quality products. I don't think it is.
You did mention there that you can't compete with EA, you can't compete with Activision, yet you are coming out in between Battlefield and Call of Duty.
No, and doing at least better than Call of Duty, which, to be fair, is not surprising. That the new Call of Duty seems to be complete trash, which also is not surprising. It's Call of Duty.
Insanity.
But you're holding your own so far, so it doesn't feel like a Titanfall 2 situation, which sort of got squeezed. I mean, that was a lot shorter time spent.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, listen, I know that people may look at that and say, what the hell are they doing? We have spent a lot of time looking at this from multiple aspects and angles, and for right or wrong, we've decided that we believe that the game can launch there. We look at this long term. This is the start of a long-term journey.
Yes, true.
It needs to start somewhere.
They planned for 10 years live service. So I'm looking forward to this.
And we just hope that we can get enough players interested and attracted to the game.
And another quick question to the question you asked earlier. You're working on other projects as well, so that's. Are they all online games? Because I'm very mindful of how high risk that market has become.
It is, yeah. That I think is just ingrained in our DNA. That doesn't mean that they're online necessarily.
The live service and multiplayer area for gaming is very high risk these days. Very, very high risk. Because there are so many games coming out and try to compete with older, more established games where they have a fixed player base. It's hard to compete. Even if you're successful, like Marvel Rivals, you will lose a lot of players if, well, the game is not good enough, not fun enough. That's the more important thing, not fun enough. And I think that's what made Marvel Rivals beat so many players. And of course, if the game is just trash like Concord, even if it's, to be fair, I have never played Concord. Basically, no one did. But looking at the game was unappealing. So why would I even play it? No one did.
Games the same way as the finals or Arc Raiders. That they one of the concepts we have is very has a I would say has a lot more edge to it than the finals or Arc Raiders does. The other one maybe is a little bit more conventional, but yeah.
You took this bold step of leaving the relative safety of EA to create Embark. And this was back in 2018 when things were, the industry was in a slightly happier place than it is now. I'm interested, would you take the same risk today, looking at where the industry is at the moment?
Obviously, it's very easy to say today, right? At the time, my journey at EA, was done for sure, and I would have taken the same decision for sure. And it wasn't so much about Embark; it was more about what I wanted to try and what I wanted to do. I will look at the years that I did as EA as incredibly rewarding and fun, and I got to work with some incredible people there and work on some incredible products, and I learned a ton at EA, and obviously you were a far more public person then, and decisions sometimes you made you heard about them online and everything, but that's a part of that job, and what people need to understand, that just because you work at EA or Activision doesn't mean that you're better or worse. These people that work there try as much as anyone working at Embark or other places to build incredible products, and to a large extent they do. So from my perspective, it was more that I'd been there for 12 years. I never envisioned working at a large company like that for such a long time. So that says something about EA, I think. And for me, it was time to do something. I wanted to get back to this, to work with the teams on software, to be that guy that asks those dumb but difficult questions, that kind of try and do what I can to point people in a direction, and like we spoke earlier about, be someone that is an enabler for these teams to do the things that I believe they have in them. That's where I get my joy, and then be involved in
which I can completely understand. If I'm a team leader, that's the way you want to lead a team. Make your team members be the best they can be.
Software and seeing it in the hands of players, there's a gratification in that somehow. It just feels good, and the joy of watching a video of people playing your game online, and they're afraid, but yet they're laughing and screaming because they're having fun. That's the ultimate reward, to be honest.
That must feel so good. So incredibly good.
More so than anything else, more so than the monetary aspect of building video games, if you do it successfully, than anything. Is just seeing that makes me smile and makes it worth all the work and effort that goes into something like this.
You must feel, because obviously it's tough out there at the moment. Right?
Yeah.
You must have some element of responsibility. I'm interested. I wanted to get your thoughts on the state of the market. I mean, you've just seen EA get, well, it's not officially bought yet, but going for this $55 billion acquisition. I mean, I ask this to almost everyone I speak to. What's your take on all that? How are you feeling about things? Because you're quite a big studio. You're not huge, but
no, I would say that we're a medium-sized. No, you have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
We are blessed with an owner in Nexon that is a relatively unknown company to people in the West. I mean, relatively, but they're not. But they're not a company whose games you normally would play, I would say, if you live in the West. But they're a massive player, obviously, in Asia. They take a very long-term view, always. They never, and I think they can do that because they have kind of games that are to some extent evergreen. They are games, they have live games that are online, that's constantly in the market. MapleStory, Dungeon and Fighter has been out there for 10 plus years, and they're still generating substantial revenue to the company, which every single day, which allows for them to anything new to give the time it needs to support a studio like Embark in our vision, without having to conform to quarterly reports or a specific date. So
Nexon is also known for being kind of greedy. Back in the day, the great MMO days, they published a lot of MMOs that were just not, up to the task in the West. Completely fine in, Asia because, pay to win and all, but that's why it wasn't that good in the West.
Never, ever had the pressure to ship something at a specific date. We've never had that feeling. It's more when the finals weren't, had its problems, they were like, okay, this was expected. Here's what you need to do. Think about it. Like, they were super supportive and just take your time, fix this, be patient. We were the impatient ones.
That's an actual wow moment. Literally, wow. Didn't expect that to happen.
Not them. So that is for Embark a blessing, and they're very hands-off. They let us do our thing. They believe in us, and incredibly supportive. So that with the fact that we were able to end up in that situation has been a blessing for Embark, and also created stability and security for us. So that's number one. Number two, the industry at large, I think this problem is to some extent self-inflicted. We started this during the pandemic, where we kind of got high on the idea that this will last forever. People will stay home and play video games forever.
Which is completely retarded to think like that. You have to be completely retarded to believe that. Of course that wouldn't have been the case. Why would it? Makes no sense.
And they won't go back to their normal lives. Guess what? Fortunately, the pandemic ended, and now people are back to doing what they did before. But we've hired an incredible amount of people in the industry, and now the industry isn't doing as well as it did during the pandemic.
No shit.
At the same time, you've had a substantial shift in what types of games function in the market and how they function. So I think it's a kind of a problem on two sides. So large game companies had to probably right size to some extent. And then you also saw, because when you have a boom like we had during the pandemic in the video game sector, a lot of capital gets put into that sector. So we saw a lot of venture capital and a lot of private equity capital come into the gaming market and basically it made it possible for so many new studios to be formed. And a lot of these new studios, you know, building a studio is very difficult. Building games is incredibly difficult. So for all of these studios to succeed,
and then you have, being money put into games like Concord. $400 million. What you could have done with all that money. It's so dumb.
Is unlikely. And then I think we're seeing that also manifest right now, where we're seeing capital is no longer as, as attracted by the video game sector.
Sure.
There's there's no more capital, a lot more new capital flowing into it. So these smaller companies are going bankrupt.
The thing is, where would it go? The gaming market was already oversaturated before the pandemic. Just in case you didn't know, the market was oversaturated. It was, I think, 30,000 games per year coming out on Steam only. That's way too much. Way too much.
Same time, these big publishers are right-sizing their businesses from a post-pandemic era, together with the fact that there are market conditions where competition is steeper and people are hanging on to the games that they play more and more and more, because games like, companies like Epic and Microsoft with Minecraft and other companies are so good at servicing these games that they're more platforms than games themselves.
Yeah.
I think this is not an easy, it's not an easy problem, and it's not a problem that comes from one source. It's a problem that stems from multiple aspects, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah. Well, I do think the live service games sucking up all the hours, although that's often getting a lot of attention, a lot of conversation, because I think it's the thing we can control the most. I do always think there's always problems like that in the video game industry. Always, pre-owned was a challenge for so long, right? There's always something out there that was taking money, or in this case, time away from the business. But I do think those bigger issues, which is around the huge amount of investment and the capital and all that kind of stuff, is ultimately, led us to this spot. But I mean, I'm really gone over time, Patrick. I appreciate you hanging on, but I was going to ask one final question, which is, I always ask them this question, which is, where do you hope Embark to be in 5 years? What's your goal for
working on the next big update for Arc Raiders, having at least one more game published that's doing well. I think that's what you will answer, mostly. Kind of in that, mindset.
Like I used to say, ask this question and go, what's 10 years in the future? But
Who knows? In 10 years, we're all replaced by AI. Listen, I hope that we are seen. I don't envision Embark to being much bigger than it is today. That's not a goal for us at all, to be a ginormous studio. I hope that people can look at Embark and view it as a studio that are, where that stems from curiosity. We talk about being curious all the time. We want to look behind what's behind, like, the curtain. If we did this, what would that mean? That we're seen as a studio that is doing something positive for the industry, where our obvious goal is to try and treat the players that play our games with the deepest respect, to listen to them on a continuous basis, and try and adapt and improve the games as such. And individual comment is difficult for us to cater for, of course, but look at clusters of data and information, and if enough people are complaining about something, you ought to fix something. You got to do something about it, right? And that we're seen as kind of a pioneers in many aspects of new IP development, of how to build games in a different way. That's what I hope for us to be seen. I know that those are ambitious goals.
I said it earlier, basically the new Blizzard. It would be cool if they would become what Blizzard was in the past. It would be cool. Now, will it happen? I don't know. That would be cool.
But you have to be ambitious, and maybe we'll get halfway.
Well, we're certainly paying off so far in terms of getting attention from players and pleasing them. Well, thank you, Patrick. We're out of time. I've gone over time, but it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And I do best of luck with the launch of Outriders.
Thank you so much.
That's it for today's episode of the Game Business Show. There is no news show this week. We're taking a short break, but we'll be back with more interviews, news, and analysis next week. Until then, thank you for tuning in. What is one of the first things you do when you
This was really good.
get into the office?
I clean up my email.
Outside of the ones you've worked on, what do you think is the best shooter game of all time?
Half-Life.
Or
Wait, what?
do when you get into the office?
I clean up my email.
Outside of the ones you've worked on, what do you think is the best shooter game of all time?
Half-Life.
Or
Half-Life 2?
yeah. If you could be the CEO of any other game
That was a good answer of him. I didn't know that there was this extra content at the end. That's interesting.
developer, which would it be?
Probably From Software.
Oh. What book would you recommend to anyone looking to run their own company or set up their own studio?
To be honest, I don't read any of these management books. It's not a thing for me. I'm boring in the aspect that I read old books and sci-fi novels and stuff like that. I couldn't answer that question.
Okay. What is your favorite album of all time?
Probably Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder.
Oh, wow. It's a great one. What one thing do you wish you'd known before starting up Embark?
To be more patient and to trust the process. People here call me sometimes a pain in the, in there, but in maybe a good way. But sometimes I would benefit from being more patient.
Good interview. Good interview. Oh my god, I really like this. This was great.